Yellowstone, one of the most beautiful places on the planet. Geeks may remember it from the movie 2012 as the massive supervolcano that annihilated California. While its picturesque geography and beautiful foliage may seem fun and innocent, it in reality is anything but. The hot springs at Yellowstone are known to be some of the hottest on Earth, with temperatures ranging from 85 to 237 degrees Celsius, well above the ability to burn people's skin. Back in July of 1981, some dude actually tried to swim in one of these hot springs. What happens next will shock you. Meet David Allen Kirwan, a 24-year-old nature lover, dog lover, and man lover, also the main character of today's tale. The tale in question began on July 20th, 1981, when our man David, who's from La Cañada, California, is visiting the Yellowstone National Park for the bi-weekly unemployed man nature hike. All was going well and dandy. David and his friend Ronald Ratliff were exploring some of the trails and enjoying the beautiful scenery. It seemed as if nothing could go wrong. After all, what's two bros going out for a little hike? A little later at 1 p.m. the duo got back in their truck and moved it a little closer to one of the hot springs when all of a sudden Ronald's dog Moosey, a mixed breed boxer, escaped from the truck and ran straight towards the hot spring the duo was currently oogling at. She screamed and yelped as the 100-degree water quickly scalded her poor doggy's skin. Kirwan, who could not bear to let man's best friend die, alone at least, stupidly jumped into the pool himself, despite a couple bystanders and Ronald urging him not to. He even replied, "Like hell I won't," to them. He took 2 steps back and then dove head first, big mistake, into the boiling water. Within seconds his skin got cooked to perfection as he relentlessly swam towards Moosey, who herself was also being turned into Chinese cuisine. David did eventually get to Moosey, but it was at this moment he realized that the pool was actually hot as fuck. With the adrenaline wearing off and clarity of mind beginning to return, he hurriedly swam back to the shore. There, Ronald was waiting. As he got to the shore, Ronald hurriedly pulled David out, even getting some parts of his own feet scalded. Moosey unfortunately didn't survive. Now David was back on land, but the damage had already been done. His whole body from head to toe looked and felt like a wet, saggy, slightly reddish tortilla. As a matter of fact, it was so bad that when another park visitor tried to remove his shoes, his skin came with it. His eyes, no longer functioning, were smoky white from the heat, but he was still alive, even managing to say, "That was a bad idea." By around 4 p.m, firefighters arrived on scene to take David to the hospital. He had sustained 3rd-degree burns on literally everywhere on his body, including his head, and unfortunately his balls and peanuts too as well. Recovery was looking quite impossible, and indeed the next morning David Allen Kirwan perished. We can only wonder and speculate what went into David as he dove headfirst into the boiling hot waters. Like, I personally know some hardcore dog lovers who would for sure let a doggo just die if it meant risking their own life saving it. Perhaps it was the swells of ego that got into David. I mean, he must have been thinking, damn, imagine how heroic I would look if I dove into the 1,000,000-degree waters and saved this dog. Or maybe he was under the influence of empathy for the poor creature. I mean, even I can't bear to see man's best friend suffer a terrible death with my own eyes. But of course, we may never know. What we do know is that David's story wouldn't be the last. Back in 2016, another guy died falling from the walkway of one of the geysers. Unfortunately, as the authorities arrived, the heat and acidity of the water had completely dissolved his remains. Yeah, it's pretty wild. But that's a story for another time. Goodbye.